Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the champ.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Live on ultiworld.com, we have North Carolina's Walker Matthews, Matt Gushohannes, and David Allison.
Hey, Edward Stevens, ultiworld.com. I was putting it together at the end there after the game. I know, David, you weren't around for all of it, but Matt and Walker, both fifth-year seniors, 2015 championship, 2016 semifinals, 2017 semifinals, 2018 championship, 2019 finals. How does knowing that you've put together such an incredible run during your career make you feel? What do you take from it as you move out of your college careers and the rest of your life?
Captain?
I mean, I'm extremely proud to be part of this program. We've been in the last 6 years, we've been in 6 semifinals, 4 finals, we've won 2 national championships. So again, I'm very proud to be part of this program. And I don't think that there's another program that can claim to be better than us in that 6-year span. Again, that's something I take immense pride in.
I don't know that I have a lot more to add to that, but, you know, more than that, like, the team means a lot to me, and those 6 years, well, my 5 years have been a really fun ride, and, you know, the wins feel good too.
The offense was so deadly last night in the semifinals, but weren't quite clicking as the game started today. What was going on today that made some of those points more difficult than they had been previously?
We weren't completing passes. You know, Brown is a good defensive team, and they're smart, and they definitely were doing a good job of taking away some spaces that we look at early in our progressions. There's always a difference between, like, knowing you're fighting for one more game and knowing that this is the last game. And, like, I think historically, you know, people will often say that the semifinal games make more compelling games and more entertaining games in the final game. And I think that happens a lot, and I think it probably happened today. I think both of the games that were played yesterday were probably better games and fought better and maybe a little cleaner. Certainly our game was cleaner yesterday. So I think part of that's on us and the mental state that we entered the game, and part of that's a credit to Brown for the defense that they play.
Patrick Steggy, mostly known from Twitter. Defensively, you came out with a forced flick when Brown was going downwind. Can you talk about that decision at all, particularly because of how deadly their break backhands, particularly the high release backhands, were in the first half?
I mean, I think when we've played Brown previously this season and gone force backhand, they've done a really nice job attacking the inside backhand breaks. And so we were trying to challenge them. You know, throwing those arounds, they did it very effectively, but those are not necessarily easy throws. The wind is pushing the disc down pretty aggressively. So we were trying to see if we could, you know, shade around, protect the around a little bit, and challenge them to throw some tight insides. And to their credit, they handled it very well.
So for either of the players here, when you're trailing in a game, when things are getting frustrating and you're on the defensive side of the ball, and you're trying to run these schemes that requires, whether you want to call it poaching or zone, how frustrating can it be to not just want to get in and say, I want to guard one person, I want to lock them up, I want to guard them for 70 yards of the field? How do you keep your composure and try to keep your head on, this is my role on the field?
I mean, it's fun to get to play like a really intense person defensive point, but in the scheme of the game, you know, we want to try to challenge them with different things, and knowing what our ultimate goal is, like, that's the best way for us to get there. And yeah, it's fun to just go ahead and grind some person defense points, but it's also important to keep in mind what we're trying to achieve and try to get them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I think we really trust our coaching staff to determine what the most effective defense is going to be, what the defense is going to be that gives us the best chance to get a turn, and so we are comfortable, having that trust in them.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will add to that is in some of our junk sets when we were forcing flick, we were trying to encourage hammers from the trap side, and on the first time we ran it, I think we were out of position and they hit it, and the second time they ran it, I think we got a block. So there was some success in doing that out of the junk looks as well. So it's not all just trying to get them to throw it down the line. We can take that away and ask them to do something different.
Hey, Graham Gerhardt from multiworld.com. One of the things about this game, sort of the history behind it, is obviously you played Brown twice before the season, both a win and a loss, and now the final conclusion has happened. Do you maybe want to speak about sort of the progression of the games that's been played and what you've seen Brown develop on, and how it played through in this game?
The only thing I'll say is that I think that we played really a pretty good game in Stevenson when we played them at Stanford Invite. We were sort of nearing the top of where we expected to be in our season-long progression. When we played them at Easterns and when we played them today, I think that everyone can agree that we were not near the top of where we would expect to be. So Brown, I think, was not playing at their best in Stevenson and at Easterns, and today they were playing at or close to their best. And so when when that happens, then it's pretty easy to figure out who the winner is going to be.
Daniel Prentice, Brown has two superstars that everyone knows about. They didn't seem to have the same impact that we've seen them have at times during this weekend. I feel like maybe you guys did a decent enough job trying to slow them down as much as possible. How did you think that their role players performed, kind of their support players like Saul Reuschmeyer, Bailey, were able to make plays against you guys?
I mean, their two guys are really good, and we put a lot of resources into trying to limit their impact on the game. And Saul is an incredible player, and he had a really, really good game. We asked him to do a lot, and he did. I mean, there are a couple other guys on their O-line that they came down with things, especially on that last point. They trusted their guys to step up when their two guys couldn't do everything, and they managed to do that.
Hey, Edward Stevens again. I wonder if you could speak to the development of Liam Searles-Bowes this season from a highly effective player to what I thought was a dominant player.
I think there were, tons of times this season when Liam was our best player. He's a tremendous cutter, attacks great space. He's a tremendous thrower, can change the way that defenses have to play. He's really come into his own as a defender. I think people should be talking about Liam Searles-Bowes as one of the best players in the division in the coming years. And he was phenomenal this weekend. He's mature and wise, far beyond his years. That kid is a phenomenal human, a phenomenal player, a phenomenal teammate.
Hey guys, Ian Toner. It looked like on offense, specifically going downwind, obviously you couldn't really cash in anything upwind offensively that game, but going downwind, you had a lot of trouble connecting on those deep shots. Can you talk about how that was different today versus the downwind deep shots that you were taking, say, last night in the semifinal on the same field?
Yeah, I mean, the wind was down a little bit yesterday, and I think that makes it easier to dial in. But it wasn't any worse than it has been for the rest of the weekend. Early on Friday morning, we were not connecting at about in much of the similar ways that we were today, right? And it took us maybe a half to get adjusted in pool play, and understanding that we have to wait a little bit longer if we want to connect on those, or throw the disc a bit higher in the air and maybe not as far out, and let the wind kind of accomplish get the distance that we want on the throws. And I think that we weren't doing that today. And part of that is probably Brown's defense, and part of that is us being anxious to connect on those passes.
Graham Gerhardt again. Throughout this tournament and for most of your season at large, teams have struggled to get points against you guys. Oftentimes, games were not that close. Teams struggled to get to double digits, and you saw that happen right up through into the bracket. In closer games, with Cal Poly Slow and now with Brown, was there any sort of mental adjustment or difficulty matching that challenge that affected the outcome at all?
I think, definitely we can grow accustomed to blowing teams out, and, it at times can be frustrating, when we go 3 or 4 chances on D without getting a break, but we've played this game for a long time. Like, we know that's how sports work, and so, I don't necessarily think that really hindered our performance at all.
All right, from multiworld.com, Walker Matthews, Matt Gusho-Hannes, David Allison of North Carolina Darkside. Thanks, guys.
Every time we touch the rises, we play better. Let's go, take down the trail.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Solomon? Okay. All right, live on ultiworld.com, we have Sam Lehman, Solomon Roishmar Bailey, Ned Dick, Dylan Villeneuve, and Mac Hecht of national champions Brown Brownian Motion.
I have a first question for Ned. Ned, you decided to come back for a 5th season. It turned it into a championship. Did you know back then that this was going to be a special year?
Is this good? I think I knew at the end of last season that we had a lot of talent, and we were going to come back and be really good. I remember, like, sort of after nationals last year, like, looking through all the teams that finished, like, in the quarters and the pre-quarters, and I was like, we're going to be right up there with everyone. And I love this team, and I believe in my guys, and I knew that if we came back, like, we were going to have a shot. And I really wanted to make that happen. So I did.
Toss up for the others of you. What has Ned meant to this team?
He's the heart and soul of our team. He is, one of the hardest workers on the field, but he does so much off the field. He's bonded with the oldest guys to the youngest guys on the team every year. He's doing the most team bonding activity that he possibly can. He's getting lunch with individual players leading up to nationals because he cares so much about every single person on the team. He's just a really, really special player and a really special leader.
This one's for Sam and Mac. A lot has been made, of course, of Mac's star power, John Randolph, before the season highlighted as important players. I think the 3 players in the middle here, between you two, showed big steps this season, had really huge roles in you guys winning a national title. How have they stepped up for you all this season? How important were they for you in your season success?
Well, we knew that these guys were amazing before any of y'all did. I mean, like, there's a star power aspect to it or whatever, but it's more just about, like, what we see at practice and what we see these guys putting in sort of day in and day out. We knew, and it's these guys are amazing, but it's like our whole roster is just, like, committed to a specific sort of agenda that we lay out, and we sort of told everybody that we were going to be incredibly competitive, something Sam, Ned, and I have been working on for about 4 years now, and it's a buy-in across the board. So these 3 guys are amazing. I don't mean to shoot you guys down, and they have plenty of star power themselves, but our whole team has star power, and it starts from the bottom and goes all the way to the top.
Edward Stevens again, Ultiworld. What defensive game planning did you do to try to slow UNC's offense? I noticed the cup zone. I noticed a junk look later. I noticed some really hard person. What were you trying to do?
Well, we did our homework, and we knew they were going to be the team to beat at nationals all season. So, yes, we did a ton of studying of their sets last night, but we've been working all season to be the team that can beat UNC. So we knew basically every single pull play that they ran on every single offensive point, and we knew our schemes to stop them. We had our entire D-line just up late doing homework all night, and had, scouting reports on every single player on their team. So we forced their players out of their first look, and then once we were into person matchup, every guy knew what every single player wanted to do, and we made them have to try to do things they're not comfortable doing, and that's how we got so many turns.
This is our 3rd time playing them, and I think sort of going into the season, we knew they were going to be like the team to beat. They have a fantastic roster and great systems, and they're fun to watch. I give them a lot of respect. And they kind of gave us the business at Stanford. We didn't really know what we were doing. I think we were playing kind of scared. We were trying to poach, or we just didn't really have a game plan. And after that, we sort of sat down as a leadership group, and we were like, okay, we need to think about how we can tackle their systems. And we worked on that for a while. showed up at Easterns and had a lot of success with what we did, and we've been repping that, drilling that the whole season, and it worked. Our defensive sets were great today. In the second half, they were just kind of like hucking and praying. Like I've never seen them do that, and that's props to the homework and the defense that we played that game.
This one's for Solomon. How would you define your role on the field for this team?
Don't get too close.
I don't know. Just kind of do whatever. Just possess the desk. Don't turn it over.
Throw backhands.
Play good defense. Throw only backhands. That's about it.
Hugo Souter, rewind the clock back to the fall of 2017. At what point did you know that John Randolph was going to be a part of getting to this point? And when did you realize that he was going to be fitting into kind of this puzzle of winning a national championship, becoming the team that you really wanted to be?
Yeah, so actually in the fall of 2017, he had this weird injury that we weren't really sure about. It was on his hand or something like that.
In basketball, he broke his thumb.
Intramural basketball, yeah. So we couldn't play at CCC, so we didn't really know. Then Florida warm-up came in the spring, and we saw him just demolish everybody. It's mostly, it starts with his athleticism. It's just like he has that jab step. It's like plant and then go the other way, and it's just unstoppable. And he uses his athleticism well on D. He's got the throws to match, and I guess we started seeing that once he was able to play after his thumb healed, after he had broken it playing intramural basketball. Well, I remember, obviously, John came to one of our practices the year before, and we kind of knew he was going to be really good. But John is also an incredibly hard worker, and he broke his thumb, and he would come to practice, and he would just run track workouts on the side of practice. I was like, whoa, what is this guy doing? He is fantastically athletic. I'm like pretty quick. John is like one of the few people who is like both quicker and faster than I am, and I just don't really know. I don't really know how you guard that. He's amazing, and a great mindset, super hard worker.
I'd actually shout out the whole sophomore class. Dylan,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Very impactful. Benji, and even Jackson had some good plays in that game.
Yeah, nice.
Do y'all think you're winning? Is Aziz also sophomore? Yeah, also a great
Taylor
season.
Johnson.
Okay. Sure. Do you all think you win a championship without getting that incredible recruiting class last year?
I don't want to say that we couldn't win a championship,
but yes,
without us. But we helped out a little bit. So.
Graham Gerhardt, at this tournament and at this in this particular game, the game that you just won against UNC, your red zone efficiency was particularly impressive. It was astounding how often you were able to score in that. Can you maybe speak a little bit about how you guys have worked on getting the disc in the goal on the end zone?
We're patient, and we throw throws that are open. We don't try to force anything. We trust each other, and the more you work, the easier it gets.
And I tell Dylan before every tournament he can't have more than 4 red zone turnovers.
I get yelled at a lot.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I think we have a really quick team, so we're able to get open in small spaces, and we have a team that has like really good 10 to 15 yard breakthrows, and those two in combination are really hard to stop. Mac, it's impossible I try to mark him at practice and I just can't. Saul too. Ken is amazing. The fact that we were able to accomplish what we did without Ken, who is one of the best handlers in the division, yeah.
Keith Rayner, and this question's for Mac. Mac, what is different about your game this year from last year, and what did you do to get from that point to where you are now?
Definitely spent a lot of time in the gym with these guys here. Team. I don't know. I think honestly, it's sort of a culmination of a lot of years of athletic working, trying to get faster. It's been a long time coming, and I'm still not very fast. But I do think it's a lot of stuff in the gym, and then I think the rest of the credit just has to go to the level of the rest of the team coming way higher, and sort of the competitiveness that I have at practice and in the gym, or just like eating chicken fingers or anything. When everybody else around me is more competitive and also pushing, it definitely drives me to push myself much harder. So part of it is working on my athleticism, and part of it is sort of feeling the wave of our team picking me up with them.
You brought up Ken No, and I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. I think before this game, most people probably would have said North Carolina is the deeper team of the two in the championship. You guys just absolutely dominated them without one of your best players. I mean, what does that say? And you talked about this, the depth of the roster a little bit, but what does that really say that you could put a game like that without Ken No out there?
Yeah, when Ken got the results from his MRI and he had torn 2 ligaments in his ankle, me and Jake spent 3 days just so sad, not really sure how we were going to recover from it. Saul stepped up into Ken's role in a big way. He was able to do just about everything that Ken can do and also play defense. So this guy, huge credit to him for stepping up in that way. But leading up to our bracket play, we were able to just go with 5 cutters and 2 handlers and just get contribution from guys who are usually going through a rotation at every single point, which allowed us to save Saul in those first couple pool play games. And when it came to bracket time, Saul stepped in and just crushed it.
Mac, I know that we've seen you make trust throws, plenty of trust throws for John, and we see you, in the weave with these 3 guys, trusting them when you put out a tough throw to come down with it. And I think that has become part of what everybody knows about the Brown reputation so far. But I noticed in this game that you were putting up trust throws to other people, and they were making the plays too. I know at one point Walker had John just absolutely flummoxed on the goal line. You put a Scuba, and was it Jack Facey who came down with it? How do you build that much trust throughout the whole team?
Yeah, so that starts from practice. We have an incredibly deep team, as Daniel was talking about, and that just means that our entire defensive side of our team is driving us to be much better at practice. It means that we also started to game plan for when we knew that people would start to think about me throwing to John, and we knew that we needed to develop options beyond that. And we have a lot of confidence in Jack, Alex Liu, and Benji Trunio, all 3 of those guys, and Jackson DeCampos and Henry Lassiter. Yeah, those guys are amazing. And we knew that it was going to take a whole line effort and a whole team effort, honestly, throughout the season to sort of develop more than a hero ball trust throw to John or whatever offense, which works sometimes but isn't going to work against the smartest sets.
This will be our last question, unless anyone has any others. You all seem to play with a chip on your shoulder, particularly in that last game. I think a lot of people expected, already talking about the narrative, the UNC dynasty. Do you all feel like you proved something this weekend?
You betcha. Man, it's been a long time coming, and chip on our shoulder, we'll talk about Ned chip on his shoulder, but every one of us wanted this so badly.
Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, I think mentality-wise, it's important not to put too much stock in the outside noise, and you just I had a lot of faith in our team, and I love these guys. We have a great team. Sam and Jake are amazing coaches. They got the best out of us. And I always believed in what we had, and our results throughout the year showed that too. So there was no reason to doubt ourselves. It was just go out there and play our game and try to be the best team that we can be. And I think we were able to achieve that.
Ned said Sam and Jake were amazing, but they're the best coaches in the college division, without a doubt.
We also have the best athletic director in the college division.
Yeah, Tim.
He's a big part of why we're out here, and he also sort of plays in his role with a chip on his shoulder, so we're very grateful to him.
All right, from national champions Brown, Brownie in Motion, Sam Lehman, Solomon Royschmeyer Bailey, Ned Dick, Dylan Villeneuve, Mac Hecht. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go, take down the champ.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Fruit Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.